Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. So this is going to be a video for Pisces. This is my first set of winter readings, and I really appreciate you being here. I love doing tarot, and I love the tool that tarot is for people to gain some insight and tap into their intuitive abilities. And so this reading is intended to bring you some clarity and to help you in whatever way resonates. And I'm using my oldest tarot deck, which is my favorite, and I always love to use it in the dark months of the winter. It's very cold here, and so we're all kind of cozied up inside. And I'm excited to be here with you. So thanks for joining me. And this will be for Pisces, or anyone that the Pisces sign resonates for. And so let's get into it. This is for Pisces. I'm going to do a traditional, well, probably not so traditional because everybody has their own way of doing it, but Celtic cross reading. It's also one of my favorite things to go to. It's how I started reading tarot. So this is for Pisces. That's you. Pisces. This is the sign of Pisces. Insight for winter 2024 for Pisces. I love that. Okay, let's get into it. So I'm using the Rider-Waite deck, which is broken up into major arcana, more fated events, and minor arcana, more day-to-day events that are, within our control. Oh goodness. Wow. I don't know if you noticed, but these came out earlier. And it's funny, is the Hermit card. I know it's associated with Virgo, but I'm actually a Pisces. I love Pisces, my deep feeling fish, swimming and navigating the waters of emotions constantly while trying to deal with our kind of hard to deal with world at times. And these came out earlier. It's the, water signs. Cups is one of the minor arcana suits, and that's dealing with emotions, which you are probably quite adept with, or hopefully so. And the Seven of Wands, which, can be interpreted, all these cards can be interpreted in so many ways, but this is in some ways about having the upper hand, but also that feeling of just like, it's always something, right? It's just one thing after the other, but you might not feel it because you're just at the point dealing with getting all of these things under control, but you do have the upper hand and you are in a good place to be able to deal with these things. And wands are generally more playful than swords, so it doesn't feel as intense as a sword suit card would. And then the Knight of Cups is just a love offer or some type of movement in emotional sphere. So that's the bottom of your deck, which some people say is like the river beneath the reading. And I love that as a Pisces and a fishy. I love that idea. Okay, so I don't know how adept you are with these readings or what you know about them, but the Celtic cross has a lot of different ways of being read. It's more traditional reading. This is your immediate surroundings in a way, and this is the lead up to the outcome. And so let's dive in. Oh. Hopefully you can see all these. Wands and Swords, masculine energy. So maybe you're in a current place, you're not really in an emotional state. It's Aquarius season, so it's when our brain's kicking in over our hearts sometimes, can be found. Goodness gracious. Wow. Not completely dissimilar to the Aquarius reading, but different themes here. So where you're currently at is the Four of Wands. Beautiful card. The Wand suit is about passion, creativity. It's the fire suit, creative endeavors in the world. And the fours are about balancing, right? And so we were just in a 5-year, 23, you know, you can look at it that way. And 5s are all about upheaval, movement, and necessary change, but sometimes can be pretty strifey. 4s are about balancing, and the Four of Wands here, you can see it's almost like the happy home card. They're celebrating some kind of victory almost. It's not the same as the, you know, the Six of Wands in terms of victory, but in the way of stability. 4s are about stability, like the legs of a chair or a table. 4s keep things solid. They're grounded cards. And so here you have this couple. So I don't know if you're at the point where you just bought a house, or you're feeling really cozy at home. You're feeling somehow like your home life is solid, or you've been trying to make your home life more of a cozy place, solid place, or something in terms of stability with the home life. You see them there. Or just in your, you know, groundedness in terms of how you're feeling right now. There's some type of, you know, stability that's been achieved. But what's crossing you, the Bridge card, which is, you know, defined several ways, but it could be a current thing you're dealing with. Page of Swords. Pages are, you know, ideas, messengers, some people say. They're before the Knights, so they're more like, you know, the beginnings of something in terms of a message. It could be the internet, ways of communicating cerebrally. So maybe you've been feeling good at home, but you're spending too much time online. That's a possible way of reading this. Or you've been trying to make your house cozier, but you've been spending way too much time in your head. Or you have some type of a new idea that's in the logical realm of existence that you're trying to get off the ground, but you're also just really enjoying your home time. It's very wintry cards, you know, like the beginning of the year, coming up with new ideas that we want to, you know, bring to fruition, but we're also just really enjoying the slow times. If it's cold where you are, I'm not sure what temperatures you're dealing with, but up here it's very cold. The other thing is pages can be young people, young figures. So you could be dealing with a young person that is hard to talk to right now, or is defensive, because there's a lot of like defensive kind of energy coming off of this guy. And so maybe your home life has been a focus, but there's a child or something that you're dealing with that's hard to communicate with, or that you're trying to develop better communication skills with. So that's another way of looking at this. Or something with a message that hasn't come, maybe. It's also a possibility since it's a challenge card. You're happy, but you feel stable, but there's a message that hasn't come that you wanted to. So surrounding you is your immediate future, and as far as this goes into your past, this goes into your future is a good way of looking at it. So if this just happened, then this is probably going to happen pretty quickly. Or if this has been a big theme in your life, then this will be a big theme going forward. And then we have overall and kind of some people call this the meaning of the reading, which is funny because it's the Queen of Cups, which is a very, they call it more of a Cancer card, but I think of all of the water cards as Pisces cards because I'm a Pisces, but anything in the realm of emotions. We are the oldest signs of the emotional realm and the oldest signs in all the tarot and astrology. So I think that we kind of encompass a lot of these vibes because in a way, Pisces have been everyone before. And the Queen of Cups is all about being deeply entrenched in your emotions in a powerful way, though. She's the feminine ruler of the cup suit. So in some way, the theme of your life or what's moving out or the reason for you being interested in tarot right now is because you're steeped in your emotions. And there's something about her gazing. And like every time I do readings, I notice different things in these cards that I feel like pertain to the reading. And if you see it, her eyes, she's almost scrutinizing the cup, like looking at it so sharply. I'm really noticing her sharpness, as if she's been really figuring something out in her emotional realm. And so maybe that's how you've been feeling, whether you're masculine or feminine. There's something in your emotional sphere you've been highly focused on. And the overall theme of what's coming in is this Justice card. Major Arcana, the first Major Arcana here, which always has more of a faded kind of vibe to it. But the Justice card is about balancing, you know, balancing, and karma can be a way. You know, if there's been some karma that hasn't come in your life, or you've lost faith in karma and the you know, give and take of the world, or cause and effect of the world, because everything operates on cause and effect, right? And there's something about like a faded balancing coming in, or some kind of literal justice, whether you're dealing with a court case, some legalities. It feels very much like it will be in your favor. There's something coming in that is going to be balancing to your life, or to your, you know, your mental sphere or your emotional sphere, right? Because if you're moving from this to this, maybe there was just something you couldn't figure out why it happened. And it's been really hard on you, or it's been something that you just have been trying to figure out. And this is all about like it making sense, it all coming into a place of balance for you. And your immediate past is the Ace of Pentacles. Aces are massive surges of energy into each of the 4 decks, so 4 suits. Pentacles is earth energy, so maybe you started a new job, or maybe there was some type of new financial endeavor, new career change, something happened in terms of your earthly realm, or some type of offer came towards you that changed something in your life. There's usually an era of change. And last year was very much about that. So this could be symbolic of last year. Maybe there's something in terms of your finances that had a big change come in, some new beginning that came out of an ending, or figuring out a new way to make money. There could definitely be something like that, or an offer of some kind. And as far as that goes in your past, what comes in your future is the King of Wands. Kings and queens oftentimes are people, masculine and feminine concepts, and we all have masculine and feminine energy within us, so it doesn't necessarily mean a man or a woman or however you identify. But what it often means is, in terms of kings, is a person that embodies that masculine energy regarding the suit. And wands, like I said earlier, are about fire. And there is interesting energy. You have a good representation of all the suits so far, so maybe there's a lot going on energetically in your life in all ways happening, you know, at once. And it feels a bit chaotic, but what's coming in is some type of like either powerful masculine that is very passionate and driven, and really doesn't overthink things, really just goes for what they want. And yeah, I'm really noticing the reds in this, like the colors of the outfit. I don't know if those colors mean anything to you, the green, red, yellow, but the brightness. They also are like colors of joy, honestly. And so maybe there's just some like passionate person coming into your life, or this could be you. And you're going from a place of, you're really focused on your stability, and you were really focused on kind of the earthly financial gains, and you achieved it in some sense. And now you are going to start following more passionate or creative endeavors, or you're figuring out how to imbue more creativity into your life. You know, this can be you, this can be another person, or it could be a boss who is going to make you some kind of offer that is going to allow you to be more creative. Or you're going to figure out how to just make yourself have days filled with more passion. And I love that, you know, so hopefully that resonates with you. And then this side is kind of the lead up. Wow. Oh, goodness. Oh, my goodness. Wow. Oh, what a reading. Pisces. Look at this, Pisces. Wow. Really, really fascinating placement of the major arcana. In like, it feels very definitive. Like the faded parts of your reading that were always going to happen. Because that's kind of how I see the major versus the minor. It's like the major stuff was stuff that was always kind of inevitable in your life and for you to upgrade, because so much of life is about learning and growing. And so those lessons were always going to come, but we kind of choose the method that growth takes, the lessons that takes, and that's what the minor arcana is. And so these major arcana, these faded bits, feel very much like determined and destined, and their placement is really fascinating to me. So this feels, so these two categories I always read differently, you know, and that's something I've taken out of 20 years of tarot. But this combo, which is just the most Piscean thing, can't you? Because we're like talking about the oldest sign in all the tarot. Queens and kings are the heads of their suits, and they're very different energies, and yet they're partners. Look at that. So there could be something of partnership here for sure. But this being something that's coming out of your life, and then this is the kind of the next step, and it's this emotional mastery. Not that emotions are something that we are meant to ever master. It's a constant fluid dance, right? And using our emotions as lessons and insight into what our next step in growth is. And so the King of Cups is, if you're coming from this place where very steeped, scrutinizing your emotions, figuring things out, kind of almost maybe lost in your emotions at times, there's this stability in not negating your emotions or ignoring them, but also embracing them fully, but in a way that you don't feel controlled by them. Notice how he's just dipping his foot lightly towards the water, but he is floating on top of these emotional, waters. And so he is very confident in his emotions, and he's not afraid of them. Not that you ever were, but there's just no real hiding from it. He's sitting on top of these rocky waters, but you wouldn't even know. He's holding his cup straight. And it's something about how you're, I don't want to say upgrading, because going from feminine to masculine is definitely not, it's not about upgrading or downgrading. It's just this idea of there's some type of mastery I'm feeling over whatever emotional realm you've been in for maybe the first part of the winter or maybe longer. Maybe last year was really hard on you emotionally, and now you've accepted where you're at with that, and you're figuring out how there's like a lot of strength here, There's a lot of confidence too to come out of whatever it is you were dealing with, and that's a really beautiful thing to see. And the reason I say that you might have been going through something is this, because the how others see you, or how you see yourself in the world, or your place in the world thus far, is this 5 of Cups. And like before, I was talking about 5s are tumultuous, and they can be strife, hardship, and the 5 of Cups specifically, very dour, looking down, hiding their face, black cloak, which can represent mourning, looking at the 3 cups that have fallen with red liquid out of them. So it could actually be mourning a loss, not seeing the 2 cups behind them. So there is a bit of like interesting hopefulness in the midst of this sadness of this card, and the waters are flowing once again behind with a stable home. So there's something about stability of the home, yet something you were dealing with, or home stability being a huge focus after something you dealt with, and finally getting there and the moving forward. But maybe other people have known you've been going through something, or you've just lost sight of the things still standing in your life because of some emotional hard space you've been in, or something emotional you've been dealing with. And if so, I'm sorry. And I hope that you're feeling better, because I know it's already hard to be an emotional person, as Pisces are, in an unemotional world at times. But the reminder that there are 2 cups, and the fact that it's 2, maybe it does have something to do with there's been loss, but there's a partnership, or there's some type of camaraderie that's still in your life, or is going to be more of a focus once you turn around, you know, and this is about kind of turning something around. And then your hopes and fears are the Strength card. What a beautiful card. I love this card because she is just taming this lion with love by seeing all parts of him and not being afraid. And emotional mastery it could be a part of this, you know, finding your strength by seeing all parts of yourself and accepting them. I think there's such beautiful things to come out of this card. And this is your hopes and fears. It's almost like what we want the most, we're also afraid of. But maybe there's some type of self-mastery you've been working on. And again, the mastering the emotions. Maybe there's just some kind of like extreme inner work you've been doing, and kudos to you if so. And a lot of strength coming out of that, and realigning with your purpose, perhaps, or realigning with what it is you deserve. Because your outcome, look at how beautiful that is. Oh my goodness. The most faded of all cards. This is the first tarot card that was ever drawn for me when I was a child. The Wheel of Fortune. Oh, there's just so much beauty in this card. The idea that the wheel is always turning. Usually this is a very good omen upright. It's this idea of fate is turning in your favor. The way that I first read about it, and I'll give you a little story before I close this out, is I was walking along a street and I saw a man who was giving tarot readings for $5, and I'd never had one, and I was very excited. And he pulled this card for me, and his card was differently represented, where on each side of the tarot wheel there was a man with a gold sword facing forward, and on the top he was just covered in light and glowing. His gold shield was glistening. Then he was facing the darkness, and the whole bottom of the card was shrouded in dark. And then down here he was covered in black darkness, and he couldn't even tell that he was ever gold. And then facing back up, his sword is shining in the light again. And the person giving me the reading told me that just always remember that this is your life, and sometimes you're going to be bathing in the light and everything will feel amazing and beautiful and perfect, but the wheel is always turning, and eventually it'll turn down and you'll be facing the dark, and you'll forget that you were happy, or you'll start feeling this doom type feeling because the wheel is always turning, and then you'll be in the darkness and you can't even remember what the light felt like. But just remember, when you're in those times, the wheel is always turning. And that is, I think, in a way, everybody's life. We have these high moments and these low moments, and they can come in a day, they can come over years, they can come in all different phases, but the wheel is always turning. And so wherever you are, remember that. When you're in the light, enjoy every moment of it, because the wheel is turning. And when you're facing down or in the depths, just know the light is still there and it will come again. And so maybe this outcome has something to do with that, letting you know that, especially when you're steeped in your emotions, it can feel like a roller coaster in and out of sadness. But there's something about the wheel always turning, the ride always going on, the roller coaster keeps moving. And so when you're in those depths, just know that the sun is coming, that there's light ahead. And this being in your outcome shows that there's probably a lot of light coming out of this winter, maybe because of some deep inner work you did, or maybe because you're going to figure out how it is to embody more creativity into your work realm, how to make money off of being creative, or you're going to have more passion in some form, whether it's a person or just something that you are imbibing more into your days. There's going to be passion and drive and confidence, a lot of confidence coming into your life, and you have the strength to do it, and you've done some type of self-mastery from the past, who knows, year, months, I'm not sure, but it's a really beautiful reading, and I love this outcome for you because it's very real, you know. I'm not trying to do these readings where it's just like, oh, a man's coming into your life and it's going to be perfect, and because life is a journey for everybody. And sometimes you feel really alone in that, and just know you're not alone. And it's going to get better. If it's bad, the wheel is always turning. So I am going to give you one Wisdom of the Oracle card, which is just another of my favorite decks. I'm using all my oldest decks. Something about it feels very grounding in these months. So here's this. Can I get one card for Pisces? One card for Pisces, winter 2024. Angels, guides, ancestors, relatives. Ooh. I like the juxtaposition of these cards. New life. Look at that. Just ready for rebirth. And maybe there's something about rebirth coming out of this. Or newness. Definitely newness. Newness coming out of some cycle. But this is a fascinating card, and I'm not sure who this will resonate with, but Unfinished Symphony is often pertaining to something that isn't quite done yet. And so maybe there's something in your life that you are still learning from, and you can't shake it yet, or you haven't been able to, and other people see that, or that's how you feel. You just feel sad. You feel like you don't understand why something happened. And so there's something, if you can't get something out of your head, I have learned this in my life, and maybe this will help someone. If you can't get something out of your head, if something keeps popping up, it is because there is a very powerful lesson there that is either yet to be learned or is still being learned. And sometimes we draw out our own lessons longer than we have to, but it's because we haven't fully learned them yet. And I don't mean that in a critical way. I mean that in a empathetic way, because I am definitely a person that has done that in my life. But when I look back, I realized how necessary all of the hardest things were. And so I'll read this for you, but there's something unfinished, something that's still holding on, and maybe it'll just be here for the winter. Maybe it's just something that in the cold months that kind of force us to turn inward will be a theme for you. And then once the spring comes, or once the sun starts shining again, wherever you're living, this new life will finally be ready, because fate is turning in your favor, and whatever has happened to you is definitely fated. Unfinished Symphony. Unfinished business, an incomplete lesson, lack of closure, the need to make amends. This is a time to tie up loose ends as you near the completion of a cycle or project and mastery of a lesson or skill. Before you can move forward, it's important that you come to terms with where you are now. Practice radical acceptance. Oh my goodness. Get out of here. Practice radical acceptance so you can turn around and see those other cups. Take inventory so that emotional and psychological closure can occur. Oh my goodness, closure. And the answers you seek will be found. You can't move forward if you're leaving things unfinished. Reflect on what has passed so that the symphony can finally end on a high note. And it looks like it's going to. It looks like Pisces are so well equipped to navigate the emotional realm of this world. So if you have been steeped in your emotions, there is no one better than a Pisces or someone with Pisces placements to learn those lessons and figure out how to make that hardship your superpower. So I'm leaving that with you, and I am so happy you were here to join me. I hope that you resonated with some of this and that this helped you get some clarity, and I will see you for the next reading. Okay.